My name is Daniel Mumby. Thank you very much for joining me, and I'm very pleased to be joined in the studio by my very special guest, Mr. Clive Essame. Thank you very much for coming in.
Welcome. Hi.
Yes.
Hello.
Clive is here to talk about numerous things to do with writing and being creative in general. We'll talk about your play in the second half of the interview, which will be coming up after a little track. But I think, for the benefit of our viewers, it would be good to get an introduction of you as a writer, as in, how long have you been writing, what inspired you to get involved, that kind of thing. Can you paint a picture for us?
Oh, well, I've been writing for 25 years, something like that, and what inspired me, I suppose somebody made the mistake of saying to me one day, Clive, you're quite good at writing, and that sort of started me off thinking, okay, well, perhaps I am, perhaps I should give it a go. And I haven't stopped. In fact, I think I'm doing more now than I've ever done before.
Was there a specific kind of author or genre that inspired you when you were first getting started?
I think it was more just an urge of getting sort of words out there, and I started really trying to write magazine articles, sort of factual stuff. That seemed to be what got me into it in the beginning, and then I saw that there was a creative writing course, an adult education creative writing course, which I did and really enjoyed that. And then I started to actually write articles and had a bit of success selling them. And I've continued doing that and sort of press releases and stuff for various organisations I'm involved with ever since. But I then got a little bit waylaid writing pantomimes, which was, I think that was one of the most enjoyable bits of writing that I've done, because I wrote them, directed them, put them on, and they were just great. They were crazy, I really concentrated on the humour side of it, and that was quite a while ago now, but that was great. And
are these for pantomimes for sort of amateur groups based in and around Exeter? Are we talking?
Yeah,
this kind of
yeah. Well, they were just outside Honiton. I was sort of living there at the time, and small community, really brought the community together, and we just did it for the laughs, and it worked. We had packed houses every time, so I did 3 of those, and then I got into, I continued writing sort of not humorous stuff but factual stuff. I then thought, well, maybe I can teach this, and I've been doing that ever since. I've taught in quite a lot of adult education courses, classes around Mid and East Devon and Exeter.
That brings us on quite nicely. We were talking about this in the run-up to the interview about your involvement with Magic Carpet in the last 10 years. And there'll be many people listening who aren't aware of the work that Magic Carpet does. It sort of ties into the stuff we're going to talk about in the second half of the interview, but what is Magic Carpet and how did you get involved with them?
Magic Carpet is a charity, an Exeter-based charity that does work in Honiton and Exmouth as well, but mainly works in Exeter, and it exists to bring arts activities to people who are marginalised or disadvantaged through learning disability, mental ill health, and we do that in all the different art forms. My particular involvement started about just 10, 11 years ago when I met Rob, who's the chief exec of Magic Carpet, and him and I sort of got to know each other, and then I said, well, could I come and run some sort of storytelling, story creation workshops for people with learning difficulties in Honiton, and I've been doing that on an off basis ever since. And we do all sorts of things. We put on sort of very short plays, and at the moment we're making storybooks. I also run a regular creative writing group here, actually, in the Phoenix,
right,
on a Tuesday afternoon, and that is for people who experience mental ill health, and they produce some absolutely excellent stuff, and I've found in the last couple of months they've actually inspired me to do more writing.
That's fantastic.
Great.
Yeah. That brings us on quite naturally to the writing workshops we're talking about today. But before we get onto the actual details of that, there's a running thread through everything you're talking about, whether it's the workshops or the pantomimes or your early magazine stuff. There's an emphasis in your work about writing for pleasure, but also as a therapeutic quality to it. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, I think quite a lot of people paint or draw or sing to make them feel better. My art form is words. It's the written word. I just think that it's a way of expressing yourself. It's a way of maybe looking at things that make you feel good, maybe getting some of the yuck out from earlier years out onto paper. And I just think it's a great way for people who maybe don't want to sing or can't sing, of expressing themselves. And that's why I think it's such a valuable thing. Some people paint, some people write.
What do you think it takes to be a good writer?
I think the most important thing is that people actually write. Because if you don't, then you can't call yourself a writer. And the more you write, the better you get at it. I think actually having the support and involvement of other people that you can read out your work, who are maybe not your nearest and dearest. Because if you read something to your nearest and dearest, there's a chance, depending on the relationship, they will either say, yes, dear, that's marvellous, or, no, dear, that's bloody rubbish. And that may not be true. Whereas if you're actually reading to somebody who you're not in a relationship with, then the chances are they're going to be honest. They're going to say, yeah, that's good, but if you do it this way. And I think actually that improves your writing. Belonging to writing groups, coming to classes, that sort of thing, I think, helps people's writing a lot.
Because a lot of the time you kind of read these magazine adverts or advertorials which say, train to become a successful writer and earn such and such a year. And it's always struck me as though those kind of courses, you're doing writing for all the wrong reasons if you're not actually striving to get something personal out of it.
Yeah, you're just looking at the pounds, the potential pounds at the end of the day, which may not be the best way of actually getting out your creativity. I think that then some people do just want to write and just get paid for it. I think there can be much more to it than that. You can actually find it a really satisfying, fulfilling thing to do for its own purposes. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the workshops you're intending to run then. Give us an idea of what we can expect if we signed up to one of them.
Well, what I'm looking at doing is running a short series of 4 linked workshops called Writing for Wellbeing. And that is very much about the creative process of writing rather than getting it right. Non-competitive. It's not I'm better than he is and she's better than I am. It's about actually looking at what I would use is various stimulation materials like poems, visual photographs or things, and actually get people to look and see what they respond to, whether there's a word or a line in a poem that they particularly resonates with them, and then developing some of their work from there. Maybe looking at places where they felt safe or happy, and expanding on that and writing about why and what it was that made them feel safe or happy in that particular place. And what I'd like to see at the end of each of the workshops is people to have enjoyed themselves, written things, read them out if they feel comfortable, but not if they don't, and to go home with a smile on their face. That's what it's about, really.
Brilliant. So there'll be a lot of people listening to this thinking, yes, that is exactly the kind of thing I've been wanting to do. I've always wanted to write but never felt confident enough. So this is your chance. When is this going to happen and how can people get involved?
What I'm planning to do is to run 4 workshops in April, Saturdays, and they'd be two and a half hours long, something like that, in Exeter, hopefully in a nice venue that would, you could feel chilled and relaxed in. And they just need to get in touch with me or with you.